Night with Kendra Dossie, and here's your host, Kendra Dossie.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing today, Zach?
I'm doing fantastic, actually.
That's great.
Yeah, today is the last day of my month plus sobriety break. So I'm drinking seltzer once again.
Yeah.
And it's the Polar Juniors.
Done?
What?
Is Lent almost done? I don't even know.
No, it's not a Lenten thing. I'm off social media for one. I have my own weird things that I don't. I make my own little rules for stuff. But
okay, that's fine.
But the seltzer, the Polar Juniors, they're tiny little cans that make me look like a giant, and who can't appreciate that? You know,
we all love looking like giants, don't we? Yeah.
We all want to be big, huge, and crush a city like a kaiju.
Yeah, I personally want to be the most famous of kaijus. I want to be Godzilla, and I want to also represent people's fears of nuclear power and the new age of weaponry.
Yeah, this is. I would not expect that we've had 2 weeks in a row where we brought up Godzilla as a topic. I did not see that.
I'm all about those Japanese monster films, aren't I?
I did not expect this to become a kaiju show, but hey, you got to take it where it goes, right?
Yeah, just so everyone knows, we're weebs, and now this is a show about shit from Japan.
Yes.
So sorry.
So besides the many wonderful cultural exports from the land of the rising sun, what else is on your mind this week?
Well, I'll tell you what's on my mind, Zach. Land of the Rising Sun, I think, is a little fascisty, but it's fine. Anyway.
Oh, is it? Oh, no.
Oh, well, it was. I don't think it is anymore, but it's fine. It's fine. Let's move on. Japan, they made up for the fascism with the hentai. What could we say? So I'll tell you what's on my mind, Zach. Folks, I don't think we're shaking the table here by saying things haven't been going well recently. We're 2 years into a pandemic that no one with power seems to want to do anything about. Global peace is becoming an increasingly distant memory. Nation fascist movements are becoming a pedestrian occurrence. And inflation is so high, even the price of feet pics on OnlyFans is going up. This is just to name a few of the issues, without even diving into the environmental catastrophe that's predicted for our lifetimes. But the good news is, Congress is doing something. Not about any of the stuff that I listed, but this week, a new bill led by noted spineless creep Mark Rubio would put an end to a constant source of anguish in our society, daylight savings time. It would technically put an end to daylight standard time, which is a period between November and March where we're out of daylight savings time, in favor for a permanent daylight saving time, but let's not worry about semantics. The point is, that this thing that everyone hates every year and always complains about might actually go away. The way a democracy is supposed to work. But maybe, just maybe, this could have far-reaching effects on all of the other bad stuff that's happening. There's a complicated, long-historied, scientifically observable set of reasons why bad things are bad in the way that they are currently, but also, what if everything could be fixed with just by giving us another hour of sunlight in the winter? Another hour of sunlight would mean more people would get a chance to take in some more vitamin D, and not having to change the clocks will keep sleeping patterns more regular in a country where reports say at least 1/3 of the country is sleep deprived, and that could make a huge difference. I wish all social, geopolitical, environmental, and existential problems were this easy to solve. And tonight, we're going to pretend that they are. We're going to ignore context and politics. Everything is going to be about eliminating toxicity from your inner circle and taking a bubble bath. So strap in, because we are playing a game called Solving the World's Problems with Self-Care. All right, let's pull up some slides. Zach, you ready to solve some problems with self-care? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh.
You're so good at self-care that you were on mute.
I am really excited to get to do this.
Yes, so am I. You might hear my cat whining in the background. She's fine. She's fine. She's doing fine. She's just practicing self-care by trying to let her ideas known, her feelings known of wanting to leave my bedroom, but I'm not going to let her. Okay.
Right. Speak up. Speak up.
All right. Let's start.
All right.
So one thing that might be on your mind is a war in Ukraine, or in Ukraine, or the many other conflicts that around the world that aren't getting enough media attention. But one way to counteract this, one way to solve this problem, is just by drinking more water.
Drink more water.
Just a little bit more water.
You see Putin on TV, that is a dehydrated man.
Yes, that's why the war is happening, because Putin is dehydrated.
I'm not gonna say he's only. I'm not gonna take the Russophobic angle and say he's only drinking vodka. I know they don't. I know that's not all they drink, but I think his cells are calling out. They want some water. He's not hydrating himself. And also, you're upset about the whole situation because you're also not drinking water. It's really,
if you drink more water, then you'd only have good vibes.
Right. It's a very simple solution, and it's very Well, let's see what else we can solve here.
Yeah, let's go.
Is voter suppression prevalent in your state? Try yoga.
Very simple fix. You'll get more flexible.
Right.
You may not be able to vote, but you'll get more flexible, and that's cool.
Right. In order to better stand in those long voter lines that are now going to be, you need your chakras to be in alignment in order to withstand those 2-hour long waits to get to your polling place.
So true, Zach. So try some yoga, and maybe you'll manifest some of those changes you wanted to bring about through voting.
Right. What other tips do we have, Kendra?
All right. So are you depressed over the rise of hate crimes, maybe towards your own community? Maybe you should forgive yourself and move on. It's not good to ruminate on the past.
Right. You keep that inside. I mean, to be clear, if you are the one committing the hate crimes, I think we're going to draw the line there.
You shouldn't forgive yourself.
Don't forgive yourself that. But you can't hold that in your heart forever. That you're the victim. That hate crimes are happening to you.
You gotta let that anxiety go.
It's not your fault.
Yeah, so true.
Unless it is, but it probably isn't.
Probably, yes.
Probably. What else do we have here?
Oh,
are you upset that the Biden administration still has kids in cages? Well, then just set some personal boundaries. Okay? Why should nations be the only ones enforcing boundaries and enforcing them in extremely inhumane and unjust ways? You're allowed to set some boundaries for yourself in terms of how often you consume this sad information and how sad you're going to allow it to make yourself feel. Set some boundaries. Yeah. Don't have ICE enforce them, but do set some boundaries.
Set some boundaries, and that will solve all your problems.
Yes.
You got to eliminate toxicity from your circle.
Right.
All right.
You deserve better.
Let's see what's next. If you're having a rough time being homeless or houseless, however is the hip way to say it, maybe instead of focusing on what's not going well in your life, you should tidy up your space and focus on some positives. Maybe even light a candle so it smells nice.
Right. It's yes. Home is where the heart is. So it
really is. Yeah.
If you just have enough heart,
then you don't need a physical structure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll be fine.
You'll
all those people on Mass and Cass they were like forcibly moved because they didn't have enough heart. I think that's really it.
Yes. And whenever I see, drives to give more supplies to homeless people and to aid those with housing insecurity, it's always very negative. I will say that. It's always portrayed in a very negative light and very, very little, focus on positivity.
Yeah, we should increase the good vibes. Let's see what's next.
Good vibes. Yes. None of these say the word vibes on them, I don't believe, but you should know that the underlying thing is always vibes.
It's all about vibes.
Like the Biden administration says that we're dangerously low on COVID tests, that there's not going to be very many left. But the thing you can do about that, watch season 2 of Ted Lasso, now streaming on Apple Plus.
Yes.
Everybody keeps saying that it's such a feel-good show.
Such a nice show. Such a great show.
He's such a nice man with a mustache, and he's in England, and he's spilling his tea on the Queen. I haven't watched the show. I'm just guessing.
Who doesn't love mustaches? Like, yes, it's great. It's a great thing.
And if you watch it, you won't have to go out anywhere, so you don't have to worry about COVID tests. You can't.
So true. Yeah. Just keep watching it. Keep watching it forever.
Ted Lasso will solve the pandemic.
Yes. Let's see what's next. Police budgets are going up. Just say some positive affirmations, just remember that you are valid.
Yeah. Yes. You are valid. Maybe people didn't think you were very valid when you were trying to say, hey, let's stop giving the police all of this money. But don't listen to that. That's all bad vibes. Listen to good vibes. And you can vibe your way away from the police. I think.
Vibe your way to a lower police budget. Let's see what's next.
Yeah. And are you afraid of a fascist takeover? Well, have you tried using a weighted blanket?
They're really good. I sleep so well when I have a weighted blanket.
I do. I joke about this, but I actually have not used a weighted blanket. So I cannot say for certain whether or not this would help stop a fascist takeover.
But I feel like it would help. It would help you be cozier. And don't you want to be cozy? You deserve comfort.
You deserve comfort. And fascists are they can't break through a weighted blanket.
Yeah, so true.
What can?
And I believe, do we have one more, or?
I don't know. I think that might be it.
I think that might be it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Hopefully you have some good vibes. And Zach, do we have a commercial break this week?
We do have a commercial break from our great producer, Alyssa.
Amazing. Let's do it.
I just see Chef Dean grabbing tons of savory items. He looks like he's never made a corn muffin his entire life.
I've never made a corn muffin in my entire life.
All right.
Hi. Oh my God. So Zach, I'm going to hand it off to you. I'm selling a cat bed.
Okay.
You look so upset.
No, I just did not expect that to be the words coming out of your mouth.
I will literally be right back. I thought the commercial break would be sooner. I could put Janet on the. Well, no, she's probably.
All right. I will just vamp very quickly, and I will say that was a great break that we had. Maybe not as long as expected, but we had a nice little break there. Brought to you by our wonderful producer Lissa. Lissa is feeling a little under the weather today, so if we could get some positive stuff for her in the chat. If anybody is watching right now, please go off in the chat saying "Feel better, Lissa." I'm sure she will appreciate that. Our viewer numbers are not great right now, but you can't say I didn't try to. Yeah, cure fascism for Alyssa. Okay, thank you, Alyssa, for being the person who does the thing that was asked to be done for you. I appreciate. Oh man, this is funny. This is good stuff. So we are going to be getting very quickly to the things that are happening in the week right now. So if you are in the chat and you are not Lissa, and there's something happening this week you want to talk about, if you want to make sure that we mention it, that we have not mentioned in our past segment. By the way, I'm very proud of everything we do on the show. I think it's a great show. I am proud of the last segment we did. And also, I think it is also one of the most evil, very, very funny, very evil segments that we've ever done. So it was fun, but it was a little bit.
Hi everyone.
Oh, hey, who's back?
Hi. Guess who I have here? Hi. She's probably upset that I'm holding her. Yeah. Say hi, Janet. She's upset. Okay, bye, Janet.
Bye, Janet. I was just mentioning to our audience how I'm very proud of the last segment we did, and also it was probably one of the most evil segments we've ever done.
No, it's all about good vibes, bro.
It is, yes, it is about good vibes. But you know, sometimes you should maybe be wary of those bearing good vibes. Good vibes can be a Trojan horse.
Good vibes could be off.
Yes. Yes. It could be a vibe shift, and you know. Yeah. So things are happening. We're going to talk about some things that are happening.
We'll talk about some things that are happening. Yeah.
That are happening this week. So we have the Freedom Convoy.
Yes, I'm listening. I just letting out the cat. Okay. I'm here.
So do you have any thoughts about the Freedom Convoy?
Think it's dumb. But also, okay, so one thing I heard about the Freedom Convoy is that they try to make their feelings about the basically at this point non-existent mandates known by driving in DC to slow down the traffic, and everyone was like, yes, it's already slow.
Yes. They also did not touch DC. I think it's an important thing to reiterate. They did not at any point of their journey drive into the city of Washington, DC.
Oh, that's really sad.
They were in like the DC metro area, sort of. And yes. And I was reading something. There is some a little bit in my field of planning, but there is some people who would say having a group that large maintaining a steady speed slightly under the speed limit actually is quite good for preventing traffic.
Yeah.
Just by having that continuous motion going through.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, but it was obviously bad.
I mean, it's great to realize that everybody's unhappy, and nobody at any spot on the political spectrum has any idea what to do about it.
Yeah, you could say that again. That is probably, that's accurate.
So it's refreshing to remember that we are all on this journey of complete confusion, and the only I won't say everybody's up. There are definitely some perverts out there who are like, oh, the world's actually quite good right now. Actually, did you know that compared to what life was like in the 1700s, this is actually quite a good time to go. No, shut up. I don't care. The 1700s did not carry the existential dread and the unstopping manipulation of my brain, like just like nonstop stimuli and like complete awareness of everything around me. I would be much happier being a dumb, toothless man in the 1700s.
I don't know if I would be happier in the 1700s.
Okay, yes.
But okay, 1970s, if I lived in a time before I knew what AIDS was, when the Coke was pure and where I was like just huffing lead fumes, I feel like I'd be happy. And like, I mean, climate change was like starting, but like people didn't really know how bad it was. So it was like, yeah, let's just drive around and have sex. Like
and there was, and I bet you like people had a feeling like, oh, climate change, somebody will fix that.
There was hope.
Like in the early 70s, they had a Republican president, Richard Nixon, establishing the EPA. Like at that point, you got to be like, oh, okay, well, if Nixon can start an EPA, clearly we're gonna do something about the. You start seeing the DDT going away, and all of the stuff starts changing, and you're like, oh, and then it turns out no, those were the only changes.
Yeah, basically what I'm saying is there were hope in the 70s. There was hope. And even if there wasn't hope, then I would have exposure to lead and my IQ would go down, and hopefully that would help with my existential dread.
Right. We don't really. I do in general think that sort of intergenerational warfare is sort of reactionary and very reductive, but we really don't talk enough about just like how boomer bloodstreams are just loaded with lead.
There's a lot of lead.
There's a lot of lead in those.
If you existed
veins.
before lead was banned in gasoline, maybe just like check it out. If you live in a house that was like made before the 1970s, just like get your blood checked. I should probably get my blood checked for lead. I don't know. I get confused easily.
I mean, you're not a baby, so you're probably okay, but
who knows? This is a story. I have a story that has nothing to do with the news, but once I had a friend that was like basically reporting on lead, and he like looked outside my house and he was like, oh yeah, this like structure is like, the way the paint is chipping off, that means that there's lead in the paint, so like your house has lead. But it shouldn't be a problem unless you want to get pregnant. And I was like, oh cool, thanks.
Yeah, it's pretty and there is a sort of a whole the lead thing also has from like a city point of view is very like the houses that were painted to look really nice with lead was done by like middle class white people who then just like 10 years later all just left, and then so then the people who, you know, it's the people of color who generally have to suffer from the consequences of white people in the 60s wanting very brightly painted houses.
Yes, that's right.
So here is so the Federal Reserve, somebody who was supposed to be a Federal Reserve watcher, had to resign from nomination because she dared to insinuate that banks should care about climate change.
Yeah, I heard that, and that doesn't make me feel better. I feel like that's a bad sign. There's not going to be anything to extract labor from when there's no natural resources.
Right, even because it's not even like this, like it's not even like the statement that we would want to see of like banks and capitalism need to be abolished to address the incoming climate issues. It was like the most like money line answer you could like be like, it is in our financial interests if we want to continue to extract money from people to address this. So like even the most like capitalist focused forms of addressing climate change are just no good. Like you're not allowed to say those things.
Yeah, it is very frustrating.
Which yes. I don't know if I would call this good news as much as it is. Well, I will say this. There's another boat that's stuck.
Yeah, that's not good news. We're going to see some great memes, but
yes. There's a stuck boat. It may have been gotten out by now, but there's a stuck boat in the Chesapeake that is a delivery. Let's find out live. Let's do some live reporting on whether or not that boat is still
How's the boat?
As of 8 hours ago, the Coast Guard is working to free a container ship stuck.
Okay, so the big boat's still stuck.
Okay. So we still have a stuck boat. To my knowledge, as the best that Google can tell me, we have a stuck boat again, which is just you can't. It's like an induced demand thing. You cannot make bodies of water wide enough because they will just widen the boats and we will just. So our need for constant consumption will generate nonstop boat stuck, and that's.
Well, Zach, I think that's all the news we have this week. I believe you have some closing remarks for all the people at home.
I do have some closing remarks for all the people at home. Thank you. So, as we know, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, which is a wonderful, or if you work for the city of Boston, it's Evacuation Day, but we know what they're all giving themselves the day off for. It's St. Patrick's Day, which in America is associated with being drunk and wearing shamrocks, and that's sort of the way that we portray the Irish, and people. A lot of white people who are Irish, their only connection to Irishness in Ireland is to bring it up as proof that their families survived the oppression, so that other minorities can do that too, and that sucks. And I don't like that. But Ireland is a great place, and the radical tradition of Ireland has always opposed colonialism, has opposed imperialism. The Irish have stood with Native Americans. The Irish have stood with South Africans, Black South Africans during apartheid. Ireland is to this day a big supporter of Palestine. And so I want to make sure we remember the real tradition of the Irish. So I want to read this poem by James Connolly, an Irish Republican from the early 1900s, who was killed by the British in response to his connection to the Easter Rebellion. So this is a poem called "We Only Want the Earth" by James Connolly. Some men faint-hearted ever seek our program to retouch, and will insist whene'er they speak that we demand too much. 'Tis passing strange, yet I declare such statements give me mirth. For our demands most moderate are, we only want the earth. Be moderate, the trimmers cry, who dread the tyrant's thunder. You ask too much, and people fly from you aghast in wonder. 'Tis passing strange, for I declare such statements give me mirth. For our demands most moderate are, we only want the earth. Our masters all a godly crew, whose hearts throb for the poor. Their sympathies assure us too, if our demands were fewer. Most generous souls, but please observe what they enjoy from birth, is all we ever had the nerve to ask, that is, the earth. The labor faker, full of guile, base doctrine ever preaches, and whilst he bleeds the rank and file, tame moderation teaches. Yet in despite we'll see the day when sword in its girth, labor shall march in war array to realize its own, the earth. For labor long, with sighs and tears, to its oppressors knelt, but never yet to aught save fears did the heart of a tyrant melt. We need not kneel, our cause is high, of true men there's no dearth, and our victorious rallying cry shall be, we want the earth. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Stick around for honorable mentions with Rachel Jane Andelman, and we will see you next week, friends. Have a good night.